Stabbing!
Sylvia pointed a trembling finger at my brother Arthur. Her milky, unseeing eyes gleamed in his direction, and his wife Agnes trembled with indignation from across the table. My husband's face colored as he dropped his fork and dragged our daughter back to her bedroom, scolding her as they went. The rest of the night was awkward, and the pep in our conversation was never recovered. 2 weeks later, Agnes was stabbed to death in her office parking lot. An inebriated student found her, almost vomited all over her, and called the cops. My brother swore that he bore no ill will against my daughter, but I could tell he was lying. One day, the middle-aged woman who taught my daughter how to read her braille called me. "Ma'am, I don't know what's going on, but your daughter's been whispering electrocution, electrocution for the past half hour, and it's starting to distract her from her lessons. Could you please talk to her?" I did. Sylvia, in her 9-year-old lack of understanding, told me it was just a cool new word she learned at school. The death of an electrician made the headlines the following week. It was a freak accident involving tangled wires in a bucket of water. Sylvia's teacher's face was blurred for privacy, but her voice was familiar as anything to me. He was my partner, my soulmate. While my husband was working late, I called Sylvia into the living room. "Honey, is there anything mommy should know?" She hesitated. "Honey, you know you can talk to me." She denied it once more. "I have no secrets from you, mommy." My husband walked into the living room with his hair tousled and his eyes distant. Instead of rushing to hug her dad, Sylvia simply turned towards him. "Fire!" she said. My heart stopped. Every time Sylvia said something like that, it was the person's partner who died, and of that reason too. Fire? Was Sylvia merely making predictions, or was she putting a curse on me for snooping in her business? Why, this devil I grew paranoid, checking appliances, electronics constantly, and cleared the house of any fire hazards. This was my life over the next few days. All the while, I kept my eyes on Sylvia. I had grown almost hateful towards my own daughter. My husband came home one night, wounded and blackened with soot, while I sat in the living room and Sylvia listened to the radio beside me. "What's the matter?" I asked. He gulped. "One of my colleagues, her house got fire. She was trapped in, but I only managed to escape." That turned the gears in my head. What were you doing in her house? The expression on my husband's face was sufficient admission of guilt. I had opened my mouth to speak. No, to scream. But a smaller voice from beside me looked at me and whispered, "Poisoning." Who the hell names their daughter Sylvia? Reminds me of a grandma that's probably outside in a rocking chair, just drinking her lemonade and talking about the good old days. You know, by good old days she means where everything was 10 times more difficult and modern technology wasn't so advanced, so pretty much lame. The Blind Child. Here's the thing, the story left me with this feeling of what the hell, quite simply put. Sylvia, the blind little cunt, blind little bitch, the little wonder child. Her power is basically to point at someone, and then that someone's spouse, that person's spouse, will actually end up dead. In the method of which Sylvia fucking retardedly repeats to herself like a cockatoo. There's no better way to freaking explain it. We start the story off with Agnes. She pointing at Agnes, saying stabbing. Well, to be honest, she's pointing probably at Sylvia's mom's brother. Yeah, that's the correct thing. She points at her. She gets stabbed in the university or college fucking parking lot. She probably works in a shitty university. There, gives a bad grade. The Asian kid fucking loses it and decides to, give her a good talking to with a knife in the ribs several times. 36 to be precise. Oh, that's freaking funny. So that happens. Then the Braille teacher's husband could possibly explained as a guy with probably was touching live electricity, or maybe like something. There could be a way that he could have gotten electrocuted without paranormal entities or whatever kind of nonsense was involved. Then at the end you have the father, or his mistress. We'll call her Janice. Janice the town slut. She's been fucking taking sausages one after another for freaking years, and Papa needs to put his sausage in the, oh my, I really just, I don't know how to freaking feel about this. Sylvia mom tries her best to fireproof the whole house, thinking she's gonna pass away, and out of nowhere the father has a mistress. You know, okay, you know, mistress, whatever, you know, what happens, you know, marriage usually, you know, one of the other loses interest. Oh fuck, I don't want to talk about that, we're getting off topic. The point was, simply put, Sylvia points at her father, says, burning, the mistress passes away. The mother discovers the affair and poisons the husband. I mean, I don't understand why we can do that, but I really don't know. It's I don't know. I really don't know what to actually say about this story that I really haven't said at this point. But children at the end of the day in horror films or in alternative media are scary in their own right. They shouldn't even be doing anything disturbing, creepy, or out of the norm to be classified as, you know, disturbing. But Sylvia being a blind little kid, it was definitely interesting. You can just picture Sylvia, you know, one day. You know how you would fuck with a blind kid, you know, you give them a cheese grater and tell them, honey, this is the most amazing book I've ever read. Oh, the cheese grater. Oh my, okay, I'm freaking losing it. I'm laughing at I was just thinking about that when I was actually grating my cheese to go on my macaroni. That'll be a lousy little thing. But pretty much that's it. And it's not, to me, it's not, you know, the worst story, but it's also not the best story. Again, I'm not a book critic or whatever. I'm just a dude that, you know, decided to pick up YouTube as a hobby and decided to read creepypasta stories because he had enough of creepypasta narrators trying to make something as lame as a lot of stories look scary or feel scary, which they're not. I mean, at the end of the day, creepypastas are just amateurs trying their hand at horror and failing miserably. But then again, it's understandable. Even if I tried it, I think I would fail too. So it's understandable anyway. But still, it's a fun thing. It's on the internet. You know, anyone can read them. It's good that people are writing. I will say that I'm happy that people write creepypastas. I'm happy people take time out of their day to, you know, dedicate to something like this. So still, I mean, no one's a loser. No one's, you know, at fault here or anything. But I enjoyed it, and that's mostly it. I hope whoever was listening, and I'm looking at you, empty fucking viewer face, like no subscribers though. Well, a few friends actually, but that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope whatever poor soul comes by this video, I hope you enjoyed it too. I'm the Lonesome Creep. You know, have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever time is where you are, whatever day it is. It really doesn't matter. I just wanted to say, you know, have a good one. This is me, Lonesome Creep, and goodbye.